What is up, guys? So our Season 7 is slowly coming to a close, with next week's episode being the second to last episode of the season. This episode is titled Living Proof, and this video will be my trailer breakdown for that episode. So obviously, let's just watch the trailer so that we can break it down.
What the hell just happened?
Emiko just dropped a building on us.
The girl has my husband trapped under a building.
We'll find him. This place is about to explode!
So this episode is continuing right where episode 20 left off, which means it seems like it's taking place like exactly right after, which makes sense. This episode 20 ended on a cliffhanger that it wouldn't really make sense for it to just skip to the next week. But anyway, this episode is continuing right after Oliver and the rest of Team Arrow are trapped under a building. They're all just, the whole building which Emiko blew up all fell down on them, or at least a part of it did, and somehow it seems none of them died from this. It seems like the members of Team Arrow are just completely invincible. They survived a huge explosion that should have killed every single last one of them, and also they survived this with a whole building falling down on them. I'm not saying any of them should have died necessarily, but I think that they should make it a little bit more realistic about how many times these people survived these crazy things that they probably shouldn't. Oliver, at least based off the last episode, should be severely injured from having a whole like slab of a wall or the ceiling fall right on top of him. That should just either kill him or break every bone in his body, but I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt and let them say that at least it injured him a little bit. If it did nothing to him and didn't even like injure him a little bit, then that will be ridiculous. Donna says that Emiko dropped the whole building on all of them, which means that I'm guessing they all got hit by parts of the building too. I'm not sure. I think it might just be Oliver, but at least Oliver should be severely injured from this. But at the same time, there's only 2 episodes left, and I don't want Oliver to be injured because I want him in all the action in these 2 episodes. So I do think they put themselves in a situation here that they probably shouldn't have. But we will have to wait and see to find out what is happening here, how long it takes Team Arrow to find Oliver, whether or not they're able to lift that huge slab of the ceiling off of him. I don't think they really can. Maybe they need somebody with super strength. Maybe Arsenal can because of the fact that he might have been powered up by the Lazarus Pit. I don't know. But maybe they just do it all together. Maybe Dinah can scream it off. Like, it'll be very painful because it is painful for her. But I mean, she can still do it. It's just very painful, like extremely painful. But anyway, I don't know what's going to happen here. One thing I do know is that there will be some sort of storyline with Oliver trapped in this rubble. I think that a lot of people noticed that in the last episode when the building fell down on Oliver, the look of it felt very similar to the season finale of season 1 when the building, or the CNRI, I'm pretty sure they called it, where Laurel worked, fell down on Tommy with all like the slabs of metal and the bricks and the huge like slabs of the wall and the ceiling all fell on Tommy, and this huge slab of metal just pierced his chest and stabbed him right there, which did inevitably kill him. A lot of people are saying that this episode here does feel very similar in the last episode where the whole building fell down. I think visually it looks very similar. You saw a lot of the same things. Well, it seems like the show, everybody behind the show, and the concept of this episode, it was basically intent on you thinking that it is very similar to that episode because Tommy is returning in this episode. A photo showing Oliver in the same exact area he was in at the end of the last episode. Although he is standing up and he doesn't have that slab of the ceiling on him, behind him is a very bearded Tommy Merlyn. This was kept secret completely. I had no idea that Cullen Donald will be returning for this episode. I mean, it seems like every single time he returns, it's a huge surprise. Like in Season 6, he returned for the trial episode. Before that, he returned for Crisis on Earth X as the Earth X Prometheus. Every single time he returns, it's a huge surprise that they keep secret, and I'm definitely excited to see this happen. I think this might be very similar to when Oliver was drugged in the mid-season finale of Season 2, where he saw one of the 3 ghosts. One of them was Tommy Merlyn. That was pretty awesome. Tommy had this speech that might have been Tommy's best moment, despite the fact that he was dead already, and this was a ghost and a hallucination of the character, but he had a pretty awesome speech. This might be very similar, where Tommy returns in some hallucinatory type of way, but Oliver is not exactly drugged drugged, but maybe at the same time he might have a concussion or something, and or the whole slab of the ceiling that fell on him, that might have affected him in some way, and because of that, he's hallucinating Tommy Merlyn. Also, though, Tommy has a beard, which makes absolutely no sense. I'm guessing the actor, Colin Donnell, has a beard that he didn't want to shave off for this role, because Tommy has never had a beard in the past, and it makes absolutely no sense that Oliver would be hallucinating Tommy with a beard. I mean, it's not like Tommy grew as like an hallucination. It's not like he had an entire different life where in that life you grew a beard. It makes no sense whatsoever, unless this isn't a hallucination, it is a version of Tommy, which I don't really think that's possible whatsoever. I don't see that happening, especially this late in the season. They can't bring up a whole new character in a whole new storyline like that. I mean, they can, but I highly doubt they're going to do that. So maybe this is just a huge plot hole where Oliver is hallucinating Tommy, or he's being drugged and he's seeing Tommy in some sort of way. They obviously had the callback to season 1 when Tommy was killed in the exact same way, and it looks very similar to this scene, and maybe it's just a plot hole because Tommy has a beard, and that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. So I know this isn't much of a trailer breakdown, it's more of a breakdown of what's going to happen in the episode, but just getting back to the trailer for now, and that's really only one thing I want to talk about in the trailer, which is that in this shot, you see the cops surround Felicity. In the synopsis, it says that the SCPD show up with a warrant to Felicity, which means that I'm guessing Miko Queen did go through with releasing the footage to the SCPD, and now the SCPD is going after every vigilante or the entirety of Team Arrow, because now they know that Roy killed those guards. But on top of that, which is more severe for the rest of Team Arrow, which is that they all covered for Roy because of it. So now they're all being completely discredited, they're all being completely washed out, and it seems like Miko is going to win. This is the first season where it seems the main villain will win in the end. I mean, Prometheus, I thought, won in the end, but Season 6 completely got rid of that. But based off the flash forwards, Miko is going to win. She's going to completely discredit Team Arrow. She's going to completely discredit vigilantes as a whole, especially or entirely in Star City, which in my opinion is stupid. I hate this. I hate the fact that the present day is ending on a bad note. I hate the fact that Team Arrow and Green Arrow and everything to do with Star City is all going out in the present day on a bad note. They're all going out in a negative light, which will all lead to the flash forwards, which the flash forwards right after Olicity is the stupidest and most unnecessary thing that Arrow has done, or the worst decision that they have done, which is number 1 Olicity, but number 2 is the flash forwards, which completely ruined a lot of this season, and it's ruining the ending of Arrow. I just really don't like that Miko is going to win and completely discredit Team Arrow. This would be fine if it was the middle of the show, but this is the second to last season of Arrow, and the flash forwards, it seems like Miko ends up succeeding and Team Arrow loses, and I really don't like that. Not because the villain winning makes for bad quality TVs or movies. I mean, looking at Infinity War, that is just not the case, especially if you have a good villain. For one, Miko's not exactly a good villain, but for the second thing, this whole thing is completely ruining Oliver Queen as a character. Unless he shows up in the flash forwards and he isn't dead, it seems like he completely fails in everything he tries to do in this show, and the slack is picked up by his daughter and his son in the future, who are the people who, I guess, set everything straight along with Felicity Smoke, and that completely pisses me off. That really just goes against everything they've set up on the show. It completely goes against everything the show has represented in the past when it has been good, and that really pisses me off. And I think because of that, Arrow, even though it's had its ups and downs, I looked at it as more of a good show than a bad, especially like in its good seasons and the beginning of this season as well. But with the ending and the flash forwards, with Oliver going out without succeeding at anything, based off of what we're seeing now in the present day and flash forwards, I think that Arrow in the end will be looked at more negatively even by me than positively. But getting past the beard rant as well as the flash forwards rant and the rant all about the fact that Team Arrow is going to lose this season, let me know all your thoughts in the comments down below. I am definitely excited for the Tommy stuff in this episode, the callbacks to Season 1's finale and Season 2's mid-season finale, which are my two favorite seasons, episodes of the first 2 seasons, so I'm definitely excited for that aspect of the episode. But let me know all your thoughts in the comments. What are you excited for? What are you not excited for? What do you think is going to be good? What do you think is not going to be good? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments, and if you like this video, make sure to leave a like, share, and subscribe, and thanks for watching.